evening, Pittsburgh sports fans, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Joining me are my co-hosts Edward and JR. We've got Keith had told us he had to finish up a story, so he wasn't going to be home. Mac's a little under the weather, so we've got the three of us tonight talking some Pittsburgh sports here. We got Steelers we want to go over. We got some Pirates stuff. Boy, they're in a free fall. We got some Penguin stuff to talk, and let's get to it, guys. So it is finally here.
Free for all, Billy.
What's that?
I said the Pirates would probably do better in a free for all.
Probably. Good point. So let's get right at it. Tomorrow night, first preseason game. It's upon us. It's hard to believe, man, that it's creeped up on us this fast. Yep. So I know we're talking, about topics to discuss tonight. I know, starters playing. I know, the QB rotation, some position battles. On both sides of the football. What's the tackling going to be like with no tackling in practice? And we got two young QBs that are going to be, out there battling. I mean, you're hearing a lot of stuff here. I've heard that Will Howard had the worst camp of all of them, and not that he had a bad camp. I mean, it's still ongoing, obviously, but I guess like they said, Allard has kind of edged him out a little bit on some of the reps and things like that. And Allard has a hell of an arm. They said Mason Rudolph looked good. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has looked good. So I don't know, gentlemen. What do you guys think? I wrote down a list of 5 things that I want to kind of look at and see. Okay. Just what I want to take out from tomorrow night. But I guess let's get into the young guns. Let's talk Drew Allard, Will Howard. I mean, I think Will Howard has to have a good night tomorrow night to really put himself back. And not to say that he's not in the mix, because I don't know. They may keep 4 quarterbacks. But, I just think that he needs to kind of make his case a little bit more so than probably the other guys. Let's say you.
Yeah, I agree. I think he would have. It's a big night for him because he feels like the one on the outside, looking in to me. I mean, because you read stuff. I don't know what Steelers thing I read today that said, they're going to keep Allard and they're going to keep, obviously, you have Rodgers. Comes down to the guy, Rudolph and Howard, and Rudolph's the guy, So, I mean, and he's, I don't know, man. If Howard's having this bad of a camp.
Well, it's not necessarily, I mean, we haven't, it's not necessarily that he's having, and they kind of addressed this today. It's not necessarily that he's having a bad camp. It's just that he's kind of been a little bit overshadowed by the other ones. Like they said, Allard has kind of just edged him out just a little bit, just by his arm strength alone. He has superior arm strength to Will Howard,
Go ahead, Ed. I was just going to say he's probably going to get cut, but go ahead.
I was listening, it makes the most sense. Is one's a 3rd round pick, one's a 6th round pick. Is there an echo, Billy?
We didn't have an echo. Now all of a sudden we have an echo. So we didn't have one.
Love of God.
So
all right. So the 6th round pick is going to have to battle. I think Drew Allard goes into this game with absolutely nothing to lose. He's a 3rd round pick. They drafted up to get him. He's going to make the team. I think he has nothing to lose. I think he's going to he can be out there free flowing, free throwing, and enjoy himself. I think the most pressure is on Will Howard. He didn't do anything last year because he was injured, and that might have been by design also to hide him, because they wanted to keep him on there. I think the most pressure is on Will Howard. If he gets out there and he doesn't look better than the players that are out there, right?
Right.
Because when we watched the Hall of Fame game, both Haynes King and Carson Beck were better than everybody else on the field. If he doesn't come out in that sort of air, and move the field, move the team up and down, you don't want to see any false starts. You don't want to see any other stuff like that. If he's able to do that, he has a good shot of making it. but I really think it's all on him. I mean, it's too easy to keep Mason, and it's Rogers obviously, but it's too easy to keep Mason. He knows, he's been around, and I think the third round pick makes it without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing. I want to say something about Howard. When you look at it, we haven't seen this guy since the national championship. Am I right, John?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, when you think about it, 196 picks went before him. So there was 196 shots at taking him, and they didn't do it. And he gets hurt early in the season last year, doesn't play a down of football, doesn't get in there, doesn't play a single down of football. So, tomorrow night's is going to be his first taste of the NFL. Can you believe that? He's in year 2. So he's so behind the learning curve. It's unbelievable. I mean, that's the way I look at it. He has a lot to prove, and he's fighting from behind. I think Penn State biased. I'm not sure what Penn State biased means. I'm not sure. Penn State biased how?
As far as favoring Drew Lar over Howard.
John would agree.
Well, no, yeah. Well, in this situation, I don't think there's a bias. I mean, it's just like what you said, Ed. I mean,
you still there, John?
Yeah, I'm here. It's it's just like what you said, though. I mean, they moved up to get Alar, so they're not going to just let him go away. It is. In the beginning when we were talking about a couple weeks ago, I tried to make it seem like it was, I don't know, that Howard had a chance. The more and more I think about it, it just doesn't make sense. I don't see how he ends up on there. I just don't see, unless they're keeping 4, like Bill said.
Sometimes in the past, they've always had a player who mysteriously comes up with some sort of knock at the last minute. Right? So, I mean, if they would do that and then they could stow somebody on IR, that would be fine, because essentially it's just it's what we see in all different quarterbacks. It's that year that they get to sit and learn. Because even if you're on the IR, you can still go to practice, right?
Right.
And you can still, be in film. You can see it on Sunday. You can do all that stuff. So that, maybe that's what people have done in the past, but
that's what I was.
Drew Lar is going to make it.
That's what I was going to ask you, though, about him being. I know he was gone for the whole year, but he's not really. He shouldn't be gone. He's there. He is absorbing something. I know, though, unfortunately, now it's new, right? It's all one thing. So maybe it didn't matter.
But he was with Rodgers. I mean, he understands what it is to be a professional quarterback, right?
Right.
And that's the important part. He sees the everyday as, hey, this is how you eat. This is how you sleep. This is how you watch football. This is how you interact with your teammates. This is what you look to do in the weight room. All that stuff. And I think, I don't know if he was on the practice squad for the latter half or if he was IR all year. I'd have to go back and check. But I mean, that's the kind of, and I listened to who's the quarterback? I was listening to Tua, and he's talking about Michael Penix, because he's still out. He says, look, he's still taking mental reps. He may not get the physical reps, but he'll get the mental reps in.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. I have no camera. I don't know why. I have no camera. So
okay.
I apologize.
That's okay. Hopefully it comes back. We're just still talking about quarterbacks. Like, if he goes in there, JR, what would you see as victory and progress? Not victory, but progress and hopefulness within Will Howard.
Oh, tomorrow night. I mean, I think it's like what you said in the beginning. It has to be where if he's in the fourth quarter, he's got to be the best guy on the field in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? He can't be swimming around with those. He can't be with those late round guys and not looking like he's not the best player. The way Haynes King looked, I mean, that guy looked like he belonged to be playing in the first half. And that's what Howard needs. He's got to outplay Rudolph too. I mean, if Rudolph's playing, he's got to look better than him. He just has to. It isn't even Alar, because I don't even think he could be. That's the funny thing. I don't even know if he could take Alar's spot, and because we're not even talking about who's going to be the third string. We're kind of talking who's going to be the backup. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's because they keep saying it's Rudolph and Howard. Well, no, it should be Howard and Alar. Is what we should be battling. I mean, maybe it is, and we're just we don't. I don't. You know what I mean? Because I know it's the media saying it, but why wouldn't it be those two that would come down between?
I mean, it would make sense because you're planning for the future. Because Rodgers has said almost unequivocally, this is his last year, right? So he said he's done. I mean, I really want to see. I really want to see what happens as far as like he's supposed to decide. I think I read today because today's the walkthrough, so they should already know, who's playing, what it looks like. It is curious to me because Rodgers has to play something, right? They just have to.
Yeah,
you have to do something with live opponents. And especially, it's different with other teams. Like I was watching a little Washington stuff today, and Miami's in town because they're playing Miami. So they've already had 2 joint practices, and they're extremely scripted. You get to see every scenario you want. I still had the alarm pick. That's why I haven't talked to Steelers pick. Okay. Yeah.
All right, we got Vegas chiming in. Aller has prototypical size, arm strength, had a little mobility. PSU didn't help his career. No, and I said that before about James Franklin. We talked about that at nauseum. It was it did not that offense that
very vanilla.
Ran, very vanilla. Well, and it didn't play to his strengths at all. He's more. It actually the offense played away from his strengths.
Yeah, he should have got out of there. Really,
right.
He should have probably went to the portal.
Will.
Jesus H Christ.
Will the Steelers to a victory this season? He's hoping that Will Howard comes in and does it. Go ahead, Billy.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
We were off a little bit, but according to you, what would you need to see from Howard to get him any movement on the depth chart?
I mean, I want to see. He would have to tomorrow night. I mean, he would have to really. I don't know. He would have to look good. I mean, he would. I know that's just a very kind of cliche.
What we came up with is at bare minimum, everything has to be clean. Like they got to get in there.
I want to see him. His first drive, I want to see him go down and score and do it in a very fluid fashion, so to speak. That's what I want to see.
And then JR was saying if he's in the fourth quarter, and I agree with him, he's got to be the dominant player on the field. No ifs, ands, or buts, right?
He's got to be the what?
The dominant player on the field. He's got to look
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's got to show out tomorrow night. He has to. He has to do it. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like I said, he's already behind the curve. And like I said, that injury was the worst thing to happen to him last year. Worst thing to happen to him because he didn't get any time. He got no time at all last year. Didn't take a single NFL snap. And I don't know. Like I said, he's been edged out a little bit in the camp so far. It's not that he's looked bad. That's not the case. But he's had to compete with 3 other quarterbacks, and I mean, not really compete. He's not really competing. I don't think with Mason Rudolph. He's not competing, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers. But Drew Aller, I mean, he's having to, compete with him. And Drew Aller, they said his arm strength's better than Will Howard. So,
yeah.
But
they'll have to let him go whenever they can let him go. So he'll hook on somewhere else. I'd imagine.
Right.
But Aller is better. Aller, the more I think of it, and what a good point about Penn State just holding them back, and you really didn't get to see anything.
No, and I said that before. You didn't. Penn State was a bad. I agree. He probably should have. I mean, what does he know? But he probably should have transferred at some point in time.
Just gonna say that. Who do you think's better, Aller or Mendoza?
Hold on, we got a couple. I'm going to go with hope we don't win anything if we let Howard go. Hope we don't win anything if we let Howard go or don't even give him an actual chance and this put all out because of Pennsylvania Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen. I mean, I don't know. Let's see what happens. Howard makes good decisions under pressure. I mean, he had a great supporting cast at Ohio State. There's no doubt about that.
I think you got to look back at the Kansas State year. You do got to look back to that year, the year before he came to Ohio State. I think that's a little bit more. Wasn't a bad year for him, but it wasn't. Wasn't going to put him on the map.
From what I saw, Aller is terrible under pressure.
I don't know. It's so hard to say because I don't even know. I know. You know what I mean? I
Cool,
don't know.
just stumbled upon this. Nice. Well,
The
we're
thing,
we're
the
glad
thing
to
is,
hear.
the thing is, they're so hard to compare because one spent so much money on offense, right?
Yeah.
That's really truly the difference. I always wanted to compare Alar to Mendoza, same height, probably a stronger arm than Mendoza,
Yeah.
and I think he's a little more athletic. I think if they had him, MacArthur didn't draft Howard, so that's true.
That's very true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But I would always like to see what a true offensive coach with an offensive mind does with a player like Alar, because they definitely didn't highlight any of his strengths at all. He was so compact, and that's what really, if you look at it, that's what really made. He said he crumbled under pressure. The fact of the matter was, when he got the opportunity to open up, he had to be 100%. He had no room for error whatsoever, because at that point in time, it's overtime. They're going for everything is high pressure. I think that had they let it open earlier, he could have been a different player. I don't know. None of us know. But if you put a player in a high pressure position when he's only getting, say, 20 passes a game, that's kind of tough to do, even for the best of them.
Yeah.
I want to see I want to see him play mistake-free football. That's what I want to see him do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Got to be clean. Got to be clean.
Yeah, I want to see him look clean. I want to see him. He's got to avoid the mental errors. They've got to do. They got to do what they got to. All of them have to play clean, though. I mean,
Right.
it's be. So, you
Do you
you
think
don't.
any
You
starters
want
going to play at all, Billy?
Do I think any of the starters are going to play?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, he's been really kind of keeping the cards close to the chest on this one when it comes down to it. I don't know. I mean, we still don't even know if Rodgers is going to see some action tomorrow.
Right.
That's still kind of up in the air. Nobody's really said anything yet about it.
Have you read anything
so
in any of the papers of what the rotation is going to look like?
No, there's nobody knows
Wow.
at this time. So,
Huh.
yeah, nobody knows what it's going to look like. I mean, it's I haven't heard anything and how they're going to do it. It's still kind of up in the air. So,
I was listening driving home, and they're talking about the running back they got from Iowa last year is so far down on the depth chart that all he gets is backup kickoff return reps. That's it. I mean, I thought the guy was decent in Iowa, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
McCarthy.
Yeah.
I thought he was decent. Yeah,
I did too. Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on a second. Okay, this camera and audio issues kind of throwing me off my game. I apologize here. Just been trying to troubleshoot here while you're trying to do a show. Thanks, StreamYard. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit. We talked about the QBs. Anything else we want to say about the QBs?
No.
No, they just have to be clean.
Yeah, let's talk about. We had the question about what position battle on offense do we want to see or is worth watching. I'm going to say this. I want to see what Jeremy Bernard does and Roman Wilson. I really want to see because it's kind of up in the air right now for the wide receiver number 3, the slot guy. Between those two, it's just kind of been. I mean, I'm going to just start with Roman Wilson. He's looked good in camp. He's looked very good in camp. However, how many times have we been fooled by that? We were fooled by that with Kenny Pickett, right? Look great in camp. Look great in preseason. I need to see what he does in a game. I need to see what
Pittman and DK are not playing, so it's going to be heavy Roman, heavy and heavy Bernard.
And Harry Bernard, right? Which is how it should be. I mean, he's really shown some flashes of potential in camp here. So is Bernard too. I'm not discounting Bernard either. I mean, but Roman Wilson, this is his third camp, guys. It's like pull up or shut up time for him. It really is. And this is it. I think this is his last chance to prove he's worthy of his draft spot.
Yeah, this is career.
They're both second-round wideouts too.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is his career. This does it right here. This year. Because if he gets cut, you know what I mean? If it's bad, or you're not going to say he gets cut, but you know what I mean? It's just, that'll be it.
Right. Need to see him. He needs to show out in the game. I mean, he's another guy that really needs to have a good game tomorrow night. If he in fact wants to be wide out number 3, I mean, and earn that position, because I tell you what, Bernard's right there too. I mean, they're kind of neck and neck at this point in time. I will say though one thing, that there was a lot of flashes of potential. They've been calling his name a lot in training camp. He's been looking really good. We've seen this fish before though with him. You know, uh, you know, he's had kind of entered camp in recent years with more healthy scratches than receptions. Let's be honest here. And I mean, I don't know. He's passed the test in camp, but however, that's not going to be good enough. He has to have a good game. That's what I'm looking at. Anything? What are you guys? Any other that you're looking at on offense?
Oh, I think up and down the line.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I heard
We know Hunter is not going to play, so we know that we can.
That's too bad. Yeah, that's too bad. That one there. I'd love to have seen him.
Yeah. Let's see if we got any comments here on TikTok, the TikToker. No, it doesn't look like it. Hey, shoot me some comments, folks. Shoot me some comments. Let me know what you want to. What you want us to cover. Howard, what's this? Howard got better after he slid and lost the game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did when he's against Oregon.
Hope KJ never returns a kick for us ever again. He was terrible. Didn't make a single person miss. I've never seen a returner get demolished on every return like KJ did.
Well, then they're going to cut that kid because he's got nothing. Yeah. If he doesn't have special teams, right, why even keep him? Again, right. You weren't here last night because you had bereavement leave, but this is what JR and I talked about last night. That's a perfect kid for an NFL developmental league. Perfect kid.
Yeah.
Right? Work on his pass block, working on his pass pro, picking up, what he's supposed to. Perfect kid for that. The NFL, man, Goodell loves money. It's still, I think it's a giant mistake not having a developmental league. Giant mistake.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, but doesn't I don't know why we don't.
JR and I figured it out last night. You go 16 teams and whatever you want to call it, and then you do 2 teams per the developmental league, and you make them regionally. You regionally disperse them. You go, Miami, Jacksonville, and Miami. There's a team, right? You go up the coast, Carolina, and whatever. You go in a little bit, Tampa and Atlanta. You can do it all you want. You can do it. I think it's necessary too. I really do.
Yeah. Caleb Johnson, best third running back, number 2 power pick. Bring back the Steagles. Gosh.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. We got Ian's guys.
Mr. Robin
They're in a free fall. Wish Bob would sell the team, but it'll never happen. I don't know. It probably never will happen. I agree with that.
We'll get there. We'll get there, Robin. Hang on for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to get there.
Yep. So, yeah. What do we want to see on defense? What do we want to see on defense? What do we want to see? Who do you want to
tackling?
I want to see if they can tackle.
Yeah. So let's touch on that here. Obviously, we all know that the tackling issue. McCarthy's banned full tackling from camp. Very much discussed storyline. I mean, we've been talking about this ad nauseum the last couple of weeks. There's different sides of the story, or different sides of the debate. And people for it, people against it. We got all that. I don't know. In reality, I think they're they aren't the only team that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like they're not hitting in camp. That's not the. Don't get it twisted. They're hitting. It's like thud tackling is what we're. It's contact. Thud and then release. I don't know. And this is an increasingly. We're seeing this more and more. In the NFL. I mean, we're seeing in the modern NFL, I mean, there's a lot of teams that do not permit full tackling to the ground, and and they don't do it. There's a couple, who do it for a handful of sessions, and then they don't do it again.
Yeah.
Steelers under Mike Tomlin were one of those teams that were, we heard it all the time, from Pat Kerwin and Jimmy Miller about how they were the only team that consistently through camp tackles to the ground. The other teams that go to all 32 camps, the other teams weren't doing it. They just weren't tackling to the ground like the Steelers. Um, what's that mean? The techniques and skills, that are drilled into them. Is this gonna turn up tomorrow night in the preseason game? Are we gonna see some of this? Are we just gonna see some poor attempts to tackle some unfamiliar opponents? You got the Green Bay Packers. I know.
Hey, Billy, has anybody asked the
So
players about it?
yeah, I mean they asked Cam Hayward about it, and he said the comment that it makes you he said stretch your technique, but I think we talked about this last week. I think he meant to say something else because I don't know what stretch your technique means. I don't know what that means. But I mean I think he meant like makes you maybe hone your technique, or I think he meant to say something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I mean he was asked. I don't know if any other players were asked about it. I don't know. But I know he was asked about that. He made that comment that it makes
Yeah, I don't recall a team being this dedicated to
stretch.
this committed to the non-tackling. I really don't. A lot of teams start off with the thud, but most teams
Well,
move into. But I'm not recall. I
hey,
don't
it's
recall.
right. It's not just that. I mean, you look at yesterday. It was no thunderstorms. It was raining. They moved everything indoors, and they said the reason being is they didn't want a slippery field. They didn't want to they didn't want to get guys to get injured. And I get all that. I get all that. But man, you're going to have to put in the elements during the regular season. Like I don't know. I mean, like what? I mean, I get it. You don't want to get guys hurt, and you know what? Knock on wood, you really haven't had any major injuries. I mean, you've had a few guys out. Obviously, it's a contact sport, right? You're going to have guys that are going to be out. You're going to have guys that are going to miss strings of practices. It's a normal thing.
Yep.
But I don't know. I said it before. Okay, like a lot of people said, well, these guys are professionals. They know how to tackle. This has been drilled into them. I get it, but like I don't know, like when you don't fully do a technique, it's similar to martial arts. I studied martial arts for 2 years, and there's a thing called like temperament, like when you're blocking, right? When you're taking punches, when you're taking kicks, there's a thing called temperament. Getting your forearms, getting your shins ready to take that block, right? It hurts. It hurts. It hurts bad. It hurts like a son of a bitch. But after you've done it for so many sessions, after you start to it's you don't even recognize the pain anymore. You're just trying to do the technique properly. You're not even the pain doesn't even bother you anymore. It's temperament. And I don't know, maybe I'm off on that. Maybe but I kind of relate it to football, especially the tackling. If you're just thud and wrap up and okay, that's it. I don't know. How do you turn that on? And when it comes tomorrow night, how do you say, okay, no more? I got to actually put them on the ground. Like I got to remember to do that. Been doing this for the last 2 weeks. Just thud and wrap up. Now I got to actually. So I don't know.
I think it'll be interesting. They talk about injuries and we talked about this under Tomlin, like the fact that he did so much hitting with an older team. They did have a lot of injuries, Billy. They did. I mean,
They did, and McCarthy probably looked at that and said, "Oh, I don't want to make that mistake. I want to come in here. I want to keep the guys healthy. Your best ability is availability, and that's probably what they're looking at.
yeah.
Um,
And to that
and I
point,
get it.
Pittman
But I
and
also
DK haven't been
the
in the
other
last
side.
2 days.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
To that point, DK and Pittman have not been in practice the last 2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get that point. I get his point of not, but I also understand that, it's still a contact sport. It's still a tackling, it's still tackle football, And
Right.
you don't want to get guys injured, but you still gotta,
Yeah,
to
it's
me,
gonna
I
be
think it should have done a little bit of tackling. It should have been a little bit, you know. If you didn't want to do like how Tomlin did, where he was just freaking tackling, every, they were doing it all the time. I get that, but just to not, to just not do it at all. We'll see We'll see. We'll see tomorrow night.
Yeah, one thing that I find interesting tomorrow night is what McCarthy said about missed assignments and mental errors and all that. I'd be curious to see what that means. If we're going to get a lot of offsides and a lot of delay of games, or what if they're not picking up what he's bringing, you know what I mean, yet or something. Yeah. But it's a pretty interesting statement,
Yeah. Well, he said it before. He said it before in this camp. He said it a few times that on more than one occasion. He said it's been a sloppy practice. He was talking about some missed assignments. They had a pregame practice yesterday, and he said there was a lot of false starts, a lot of botched snaps, some ball security issues, pre-snap penalty issues, and that was a big thing that happened yesterday. And he made the comment that he wants to play a clean game tomorrow night, and he wants to do that by way of avoiding mental errors and eliminating some of these penalties that they had in the practice yesterday. That was, like I said, the pregame practice that was done on Tuesday. I mean, it was a walkthrough today, but there's been officials on ground, without any exception. There's been officials, for every camp practice. And, maybe that's maybe contributing to, perception maybe of abundance of these flags, But, I don't know. I mean, that to me is, when the coach is saying that, like, hey, we had a very sloppy practice on your final, pregame practice that you had yesterday. That's kind of like, I don't know, it's a tidbit troubling, I guess. But I mean, that's why you play the game. That's why you play the preseason game, to hopefully, work these things out. So,
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I really want to know. And you're right, we'll be able to tell. But then also into the season, how many games does it take them to build up those calluses and build up those, bruises upon bruises? I'm curious about that as well.
Well, and we've talked about this too in recent years. Just to kind of like paint the broad picture. NFL has been sloppy in the first 3-4 weeks. It's just been sloppy football, and it's poor tackling, just a lot of things that just haven't been. I don't know. Do you guys kind of get that sense?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's kind of been like, it's kind of been like. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you didn't see that. But it seems to me like in recent years, you've seen a lot of, like, it seems like the NFL, the teams don't really get fully into the swing of things until like week 4.
Well, because like we were talking about the other day when we were all together last, Chuck Noll, whomever you want to say, they, the guys would play a series, then they play a half, then they play, and then sit in the fourth game of the preseason. So maybe that's why these guys aren't even playing. Like some quarterbacks won't even play until week 1, and it was terrible.
Vegas says, "Damn, I'm blind. I thought you had an ABBA T-shirt on, John."
Oh no, it's a Knicks NBA championship. That would
like
be
the Swedish.
Yeah, the Swedes. Yeah. Queen. The dancing queen. Yeah. God.
Who's the green? Who's the green dot guy so far this year?
I'm assuming it's the same as it was last year, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't made it upgrade.
It is. I haven't heard anything different. Yeah, I haven't heard anything different. So
what are they going to do with Holcomb? Does he get cut this year? Because he's an alternate green dot guy.
I don't know. Who I want to see tomorrow night too is this, Black, YA Black. I want to see what, he's had a good camp thus far. I want to see what he does tomorrow night. I want to see what gosh, I'm forgetting his name.
What position?
Defense. I'll think of Harmon. I want to see what Harmon does.
I don't think he's playing.
Oh, that's right. He's one of the guys out. That's right. Yeah. Yeah,
He's
right.
going to do well. Good,
I
JR.
got one. I'm going to keep the campaign going for Sawyer. I want to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
Like him a lot. I don't know. I mean, that's the Ohio State guy that I really, thinking about other than Will Howard. I mean, I think he can make a difference. I look forward to seeing him.
Yeah.
Right.
He should be dominant too when he comes in, right?
Judd, yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Because it
And I'm
doesn't sound. I mean, I know the Packers starters are playing because Mike LaFleur already said that they're going to get at least a series. So
Yeah.
the defense is going to get tested. I want to see. I also want to see what the backfield is like, defensive backfield, because it looks like a mess right now with all the injuries.
We got about 1,700 watching us right now on TikTok. What do you got? I want to ask the TikTok audience. What do you guys want to see tomorrow night? What do you guys want to see? You know, what do you guys want to see? What are you hoping to take out of this preseason game? So
Well, you had Swin 187 on TikTok say he wants to see this just Steelers win the division.
yeah, did I miss that?
I was just looking at
Oh,
it.
it's on TikTok?
It's going to be awfully weird to see McCarthy just standing on that sideline. That's going to be fun and it's exciting in itself.
Yeah, I hope they put out sort of a menu of options of what's going to happen in the game, because going in blind is kind of boring, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because it already doesn't get a lot of viewership, it already doesn't get a lot of attendance. So knowing when it'd be good to know when they're going in. What the plan. We haven't even don't even know who the starting quarterback is. Right.
Right. I mean, we don't know. What do you guys think about this too? Rodgers has kind of been lukewarm on what his answers are about playing in the preseason. He basically said, "Yeah, if I play, I play. If I don't, that's good too." I mean, what do you take from that? What do you take from that? You know what I take from that? I'll start off. I take that he doesn't really want to play. He thinks it's kind of pointless. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing too. Is that something they've had a little bit of a combustible relationship in recent years? Is that something that are we seeing a little bit of combustive going on here with with that? I mean, is that what I mean? Is that like the first combustive thing we've had between Rodgers and McCarthy? Or am I reading into it too much? That's what I want to know.
I read it that he doesn't want to play tomorrow night, and that I think next week he has to play at least a series. You just have to, just to oil the joints, just to see what it looks like. You have a couple new toys, throw to your new toys, run your new toy, stuff like that. I think at least a series, and then they'll be, I wouldn't argue with that, would you?
No, and here's why I wouldn't argue with that tomorrow night. Here's why I wouldn't, because Pittman and Metcalf aren't playing. Right. What's the sense in him getting in there when his 1 and 2 aren't going to be in there anyway?
You're not going to show anything.
Correct. So what's the point what's the point? Yeah, I totally, I'm totally for him not playing tomorrow night. People are saying, well, it's against the Packers. That doesn't mean jack. I mean, crying out loud. Yeah, he played them last year. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean a thing. It's preseason, for God's sake. I heard somebody make that comment today. I think it was on the Fan. I'm like, I just rolled my eyes.
It's fake football, so.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, your number 1 and number 2 aren't even playing. Why would you even play? Why would you?
Unless they want to give Roman Wilson and Jeremy Bernard a look with all the ones.
Well, and that actually crossed my mind as well, but I just don't.
I think you get a risk reward still.
Well, yeah, I mean there'll be chances on later games to rotate them in and out. I don't know.
And see, that's why I think they're hurting themselves by not doing those joint practices anymore.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to tackle. But those things are invaluable. I mean, you set the exact parameters you want. 3rd and 6, 2 minutes to go from the 24-yard line. Right? Put a blitzing defense on for us, Packers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, exactly. They said maybe 40 snaps for 30 to 40 snaps. Rodgers, and I think that's fine. But when my question is though, if he doesn't play tomorrow night, when does he get those snaps?
I don't. Yeah.
Are you
Let's
going
be
to really let? I mean, you only have 3 preseason games. I mean, if
right.
we were talking 4 preseason games, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's no issue. Then
Right.
he get him in the second and third game, and but
It'll be good.
right. I mean,
Mhm.
are you going to really have him, play that second game and really play like maybe what? What would you think? Probably like 3 or 4 series.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
play like the first quarter and part of the second, and then take them out.
You
I mean, is
can't.
it going to be like? Yeah, I mean, are they saying 30 to 40 snaps, like around that, or is that going to be an actual like almost like a pitch count on them? Like, hey,
Putting
that's
everything together for McCarthy, and I guess this is just me speculating. He doesn't want to tackle, so why would he even put his quarterback in that position? He may not play at all. Not one snap. Who knows, man?
well, and that's the other thing too. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what they're discussing behind closed doors. I mean, we don't know. Just because that's a thing, doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to come to fruition. Just because
Right.
it's has been a talking point and been thrown out there doesn't mean that that's necessarily. I mean that we just don't know. So
Yep.
True that.
yeah. All right. Do we want to make the announcement, Ed?
Sure, tell him.
Okay. All right, folks. So you're probably wondering. I've been putting out on TikTok, and I think we have a big announcement. That we want to announce here. So most of you are aware. Ed and I are writers. We've been covering the Riverhounds. It's been our second season. We're year 2 covering the Riverhounds. We've been really building this whole thing up and just doing a lot of things and just trying to provide good content. And we're down there at every Riverhounds home game, and we've just enjoyed it immensely. Well, we put some feelers out there, and we wanted to maybe cover some other teams. And as luck would have it, we actually got back. We sent a few emails out to some teams, and there was one team in particular that got back to us, and that's the team that we've been talking about for the last 42 minutes in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Ed and I will be out. We'll be officially covering the Steelers Saturday. We are going to be out at camp. We are going to be part of the media. We're going to see where this goes. I mean, we're going to be on our A game. I can tell you that much. But we will be out. We have media credentials. We will be covering the Steelers. We actually have, hoping to have we got Saturday for sure. We may have Sunday and Monday, as you know. So it's unbelievable. I never would have thought that this fast I'd be, media covering out there covering the Steelers. So it's a big step for us, and we welcome it, and we're going to do a great job, no doubt about it. I don't even I don't even have any question about that. So, but we just wanted to tell you guys that like I said, we will be out Saturday as part of the media at St. Vincent, covering the Steelers. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's going to happen. So,
Yeah. Just
but all right. Anybody else? And Pirates need to sell the team from Dom on TikTok. Agree. Well, that's a great segue. Sell the team, he says. Yeah, sell the team. I agree. We've been agreeing with that for a while, but
Robin also asked if we could give our opinion on whether or not there will be a 2027 season for the MLB. In addition,
I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think that. No, judging on what both sides are requesting, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No, we're not going to have baseball next year. That's not going to happen.
if we're lucky, an abbreviated season, maybe, but that'd be about it.
Thanks, Robin. We greatly appreciate it, man. Yeah, like I said, we were very shocked that the Steeler media got back to us and said, "Hey, we got press credentials for you guys. When do you want to come out?" So we were we were like, "Okay," wow. So yeah, we were. It was very him and I. Ed and I have kind of. I mean, we've worked hard. It's been a lot of pounding, keeping your nose to the grindstone and trying to break the mold, as you say, and it looks like it's finally paying off. So, but so all right, yeah, let's switch gears. It's now 8-2 going into the top of the seventh inning. These
Yeah,
guys, these
it's
guys are just,
Bad.
these guys are just unbelievable, huh? I mean, wow. Uh, let's talk last night first of all, and then we'll get into. You know, a lot of talk about Skeens going in 65 pitches. They pull him in the fifth. I didn't understand why Donnie Kelly decided to pull him. Your offense was terrible yesterday. I mean, it's been cold. The offense has been cold for a while now. Um, what did you guys think? I mean, I didn't understand why Donnie Kelly decided to pull him in the fifth inning, just 65 pitches in. I mean, what is to that point? I'm really starting to wonder whether he's going to be shut down soon. I mean, I didn't think that it was going to be a thing, but now I'm
yeah.
starting to think that it might actually be a thing.
He might have to take care of himself because I'm starting to wonder if the Pirates can't handle him, or is there an issue? Because after last, I don't get it. He said this is
With the whole
it was his best. It gave him the best chance to win by pulling him. So, I mean, if he's not hurt and this is if this is coaching related, I mean, not only are you going to lose Skeens, but everyone should be fired because it's just ridiculous.
well, there's been a lot of things going on with Paul Skeens this year. Literally, I mean, there's been a lot of things going on with starting pitching in general, and obviously the bullpen has been terrible. I mean, the bullpen is the big reason they're in the situation that they're in, no doubt about it. Now, they did bolster their bullpen a little bit, but not enough, and I think the damage is already done. And now you got an offense that went cold. And I get it, there's injuries, I get all this stuff that people are saying about injuries and things like that have played a role in it. Yes, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But let's get back to Paul Skeens here. He's lost his his velocity, his pitch velocity has fallen. We're talking 3 to 4 mile per hour. It's fallen. Okay. But you know what? I don't look at that as I mean, that's a big thing. Don't get me wrong, and that's part of the problem. But I want to tell you another thing that I think is the issue as well is the sequencing. He has a lot in his arsenal, and his pitch sequencing has been a little bit off. And that's should be an easy thing to fix. And really, I mean, that should be I mean, that your pitching coach should be able to fix your pitch sequencing, just judging on who you're going up against and what the scouting reports say and different things like that, and what's worked in the past. Okay, how about that? What's worked in the past? And I firmly believe, like, the velocity, yes, that's an issue. Don't get me wrong, that's an issue. When he was at times throwing 102 last year, and now he's barely cracking 98, that's an issue. I mean, that's definitely an issue. But I kind of look more towards other things, and the sequencing has been bad. It's been terrible, and they haven't been able to get it right. They haven't been able to get it right, and I hate to throw salt on the wounds, okay? But do you know who was good at doing that? You know who was good at figuring out pitch sequences? That's Oscar Moraine. He was good at that, and they decided to fire him in the offseason.
Yep.
And now you've got this Bill Murphy, who, I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but if you ask me, I think he's a little bit underqualified for the job, just based on what he's done. Excuse me. But Oscar Moraine did a fantastic job figuring out pitch sequences of some of these guys, and they were able to work on these things. And if guys were off, when it come to that, he was able to correct them and do it in a timely fashion. You haven't seen that this year. Skeens has yet to get his sequencing down. It has, and just the runs he's given up. That'll tell you what in a situation.
he can't make anyone miss
Right.
anymore. They hit the ball. He doesn't. It's like 12% whiff rate or whatever. That's terrible. He can't make them miss. I bet you that screws everything. I mean, he's for himself even as a pitcher, personally, he can't make someone miss. He's probably always made people miss.
Yep.
This year they can't miss.
His entire career, and it's getting harder for the Pirates to explain what's going on. His interview yesterday, saying that he agreed with everything Donnie Kelly said, was the most depressing thing I've ever seen in an athlete. He goes, well, yeah, I agree with this. I agree with that. If I was him, I would do the same thing. He just looked absolutely dejected. And what does he have? He's got maybe 1 or 2 in August, maybe 4 in September. I mean, who the hell cares? You're losing anyway. Why pitch the dude? Right?
Well, I agree. I mean, I think we're getting closer. I think we're getting closer and closer to him getting shut down. I really do. I do. I just don't see, there's something going on here at this point in time. And you haven't been able to get it right all year. We're in mid-August right now,
Yep.
So I don't understand what's the point in putting him out there and he's getting knocked around. Yesterday he wasn't getting knocked around. I didn't understand why they decided to pull him after 65 pitches in the 5th inning. I mean, maybe I don't know if that's I mean, if there's really and Donnie Kelly had really nothing to say after that. There was nothing really that he justified himself with. So it leads me to believe that you're leaning more towards shutting him down. You really are.
Which is bad for the Pirates because he's likely, if there's no season next year, he's not going to be in Pittsburgh. So the last sights of him as an athlete and an elite pitcher in Pittsburgh, it's gone. It's over. Done.
I know. He hasn't. That's what I wonder about. How much does his value go down? How much does this you haven't showcased yourself too good here, and now that you're not going to have baseball next year, what now?
Right.
Well, I'm sure he'll go to the Dodgers and then he'll do fine.
Well, yeah, they'll figure out what's wrong with him. They'll correct it real quick, and he'll be fine. Yeah,
he'll get the run support. I mean, we've seen him. You've seen if you've watched Pittsburgh Pirate baseball, which I've lived in the city for far too long. It's the same MO for every pitcher that comes here. They go away and they're fine. They make the World Series. They win World Series.
Cole.
Yeah,
prime example.
Tyler Glass now. I mean, you keep naming them and naming them.
Jameson Taillon.
Yeah.
We can go on down the list. Agreed. And I agree. There's getting onto the team in general. There's been a lot of issues. Cruz has been out since June 8th with that hand issue. That's been bad. I mean, he was leading in stolen bases. He was hitting some bombs. I mean, it looked to me like he was 30 for 30 guy.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
And he's been injured. Valdez, another guy, who was a slugger. He gets hit in the left arm. On July 28th in Arizona, and he's been out. He's been
That was
Yeah, and then you get him back, and he's been bad. He's been like I think he's had 1 double and 2 RBIs in the past 11 games, and a 4. He struck out 4 times last Sunday against the Mets. So he has been bad since coming back.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
organizationally bad.
Yeah, I mean Henry Davis. What more can you say about him?
Right.
So, I mean, what more can you say about him?
What a freaking pitching coach, hitting coach. Invest in those. Invest in that. If you're not going to invest in players, might as well invest in teaching them how to play baseball better.
I would fire the manager. I'd fire everybody and start over and really try to get a real manager in here. And not this guy.
Yeah.
Get some. They're out there.
I agree. And I was going to give Donnie Kelly the benefit of the doubt, but I tell you what, he's made some bad decisions, and I just think that he's just like last night. I don't know. I was hoping to have a little bit of fire, And let's see what he does now. That it's the bottom of the seventh. It's 8-2 Marlins. Let's see what he says. I mean, it's just the same robotic thing every night. I'm just getting tired of hearing about it. Carmen Majinski. What about him? He's been bad. He got in a jam the other night against the Mets. He's been. I mean, Mitch Keller's out for the season now.
Right.
I mean, we've just had Connor Griffin.
Another one.
Yeah, he's another one. Not supposed to come back till September 4th. At that point in time, I don't even know.
There's no point.
What's the point?
There's no point. Yeah.
What's the point? It's September 4th. He coming off the 60-day injured list. What the hell's the point? Yeah.
Zero.
Right.
I mean, they're just going to shut everybody down and just bring up their AAA team. Might as well.
Well, I mean, they're done. I mean, you're going into this game tonight. You were 6.5 games out of it. They're done. I mean, we talked about this before. They would have to get the 90 to even have any chance, and that's just simply not going to happen.
Nope.
That's not even remotely a possibility at this point.
The Brewers won 3 out of 4, right, from them, and then they go and lose to the Mets, a series 2.
Yeah, and then they lost. They lost 4. Yeah, they took 1 against the Brewers in a 4-game series, and then you took 1 against the Reds in a 4-game series, and the Reds just freaking leapfrogged you.
Yep.
Just yesterday.
I felt like the Mets was the nail. I feel like the Mets was like that was it.
I agree. You had that 9-0 performance at Bubba Chandler, and I tell you what, Bubba Chandler has been their best pitcher this year. He has been their most consistent pitcher. You had that 9. He pitched Saturday night. You won 9-0, and then you get your ass handed to you 11-1 on Sunday, and just get beat. They just beat your into the ground. I mean, it was just
it was dangling, and they stepped on it.
Yeah. Wow. Nathan Cloud, it's unbelievable how this team 2 weeks ago. Yeah, exactly. It was 1-0, and we had lost 15 of the last 20 or whatever. I'm sick of it. Yeah, I mean it's been terrible since the All-Star break. They've been terrible. They've been god awful. They've been.
Yeah, I also blame MLB. I really do. Get rid of these just terrible owners. Just get rid of them. Do some sort of hopefully if they lock them out, they're able to fix it and put the floor at like something like 250, where teams like the Pirates. Fine them. Go ahead, John.
You need a floor and you need a ceiling for sure.
Yeah, and I guess you can't get Dave Roberts. You can't get a manager. You can't. Not Dave Roberts. What am I saying him for? The guy the Red Sox fired. I'm forgetting in my mind. What I'm talking about. Like, and I guess they just can't come to Pitt. They just can't come because they're not going to want to. They won't. I mean, you'd have to throw a ton of money at them.
Well, here's the thing with that. You've got to look at it like this. Hold on. Looks like I'm losing. Here's the thing with that. These managers know there's nothing to work with here.
Right.
Yeah.
So, especially if you're kind of like a manager that's maybe had some recent success, and maybe I don't know. You've maybe had some. I don't know. You don't want to come here and wreck your career. And essentially that's kind of what you're doing. Donnie Kelly is an up and comer, right? Shelton was an up and comer. I mean, these managers don't want to come here and ruin their reputation. I mean, they've got nothing to work with. And I mean, people say, well, they know that. Well, yeah, but it's still a blemish on their record, on their managing record.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yep.
So I don't know. Enough of that. Let's talk Penguins real fast and then close it out here. Ville Koivunen signed an 8-year deal, $32 million, $4 million AAV. John, I want to get your take on this because I'm a little bit puzzled as to why they did this. And I said this before: if you're going to bet on this guy, you better have him in the top 6. Then, like what? You right? I mean,
Yeah, they're gambling on him, right? And this is kind of the Sabres did this, and they were very successful at it with Olin Power. They signed like they just did it recently with Benson. They get it real quick. All right, he had a good year. Let's do it. Let's sign him for 7 years. And they've been lucky. It's huge luckiness, but you're right. He's got to play top 6, or else what's the point? Because you'll never know if he's sitting in the bottom 6. He has to be. You're right. I'm putting him on the top line. I'm putting him somewhere. You got to get him, because at 23 years old, this could look like a great. You know what I mean? This could be a great one when you're sitting there and you're only paying him $4 million a year.
Yep.
But you don't want him to be your one or third.
I just didn't. I thought it was a joke at first. I was like, "What is this really for real?" They're signing him to an 8-year, $32 million deal, $4 million for AAV per year. Like, first of all, Koivunen had zero leverage, zero.
Right.
We're talking no leverage at all, and they still give him an 8-year deal.
I know.
I understand he's 20. He's under 26. I think he's 25.
23.
23. Okay, 23. There's not a lot of risk, I guess, involved. I guess, if he gets bought out, I don't know.
The cat's going up a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get bought out, if he gets bought out after 2 seasons, they're only responsible for 1/3 of that contract.
Right.
But he could be. I mean, I guess this is the problem. This could be a really, really smart one, finally. But like Dubas, I don't ever recall doing this kind of stuff. And this is kind of a good thing. Like I hope so. But he's got to be, like you said, Bill, he's got to be put in positions to do that. On the power play, he needs to be there. I don't need to see Malkin. I need to see him. That's who we need to see.
I mean, when you look at it, your top wingers, you've got Malkin still, you've got Chinakhov, you got Raquel, you got Brian Rust. If you're not putting him if he's not going to play in the top 6, this contract makes 0 sense. I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah,
he's got to be, yes. And on the power play, on the first power, I want him on the first unit. You are thinking in your mind this is guaranteed. There's no way they're not. They can't miss.
Right.
So what do you tell Malkin? Tell Malkin, hey, move back to center to get him in there.
No, I say move back to Moscow.
Yeah, it would be the better thing.
But it would.
You would, Ed. I know.
You're paying that guy that kind of money. This was the problem I had with signing Malkin. Now, if he doesn't sign, it's a non-issue because you just put him there. You don't have to tell Malkin anything. You send him a card on his birthday or whatever you want to do. That was the problem with signing Malkin. You have to get younger. 23. And like you guys are saying, this could be an absolute steal 4 years from now. Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you're giving him that kind of money, if he doesn't play in the top 6, then it makes 0 sense to do this. It just makes no sense at all to do this.
Well, it's just laughable at that point.
Well, if you can put him in the top 6 and he's got 20 goals this year and 50-some points, now it looks good. Now you're happy. Everything looks good, and that deal. That's all you need for this deal, because $4 million AAV is not that big of a deal anymore, because of the way the cap keeps going and going and going. This could be smart, and it could be just as stupid if he's playing. If he's playing with who's their third? Is it Tommy Novak? Is that their third line center?
Yeah,
who they just signed for 3 years extension at 4 something.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I don't want him there. I want him to play with Crosby, as far as I'm concerned.
You're right. The caps continue to rise. I mean, it's gone up $16 million since the 24-25 season. It's at 104 right now, and it's going to more than likely keep rising.
Yep, it is. I think it's going to 120. They already got it mapped out for the next couple of years.
Right. So, I mean, from that standpoint, maybe you're looking at, okay, it wasn't too much of a, risk, from that standpoint, but I don't know.
If these guys aren't up, I mean, they have to be up high. They can't just sit back and do nothing. I mean, honestly, come on. That's wasting money if they're down on the second or third line.
Exactly. that was the best thing of this whole topic, Bill, was what you said there. If he doesn't play in the top 6 and on the power play too, you got to give him power play points because it's the only way he's going to get the points. He's not going to get them, on the third and fourth line.
My fear is that you're gonna have him on the bottom 6 for most of the season, and then you're gonna be at the March 1 trade deadline. The Penguins what if they're out of the playoffs? Then you send Raquel or Russ, send them packing, and now he's he's moved up now.
They should have done that sooner with Raquel and Russ. Probably they should have tried to do something.
Well, I agree with that. There's been talk
about that for years.
Yeah, we've been talking about that for years.
Yeah.
Bro.
Man, there's teams that I can think of one that could use a top 6 forward, and I don't know. I don't know. Dubas confuses me. I mean, he's a very confusing guy. Everything he does is kind of up and down. You can't really get a read on him. This deal, though, for this, I don't know. I got a feeling it's going to be all right. It's just a matter of how they play him. And like you said, if they put him, I bet you if he's in top 6, he's going to get 50 points. He's got that kind of right. I mean, he's got that. That's what's supposed to happen with him.
Yep.
So
right.
give him.
Yeah,
give him the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's. I just think it's a pointless contract if you're not. Yeah. If he's not playing in the top 6, it's a pointless contract.
Years, right? It's not even the 4. It's the more the years, I guess, because everyone's at $4 million. It looks like AAV.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, we've seen Dubas do. I mean, we didn't think he would sign Jari to a 5-year deal either. And he did. So, and as luck would have it, they were able to get out of that. Via the Edmonton Oilers, they were able to.
They were able to take in Edmonton. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
Yeah, that was I mean, the Penguins actually made out. They unloaded him and actually made out on the deal. So, all right. Hey, we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be covering camp. We'll be at Steelers training camp on Saturday. Me and Ed, we're going to cover the practice, and then hey, you know what? Life of a writer. We're going to be leaving training camp once everything's done, and we're going to be jetting down to FMB Stadium to cover the Riverhounds. They're playing Charleston Battery, a nemesis in the last few years of the Riverhounds. So that we're going to be down there covering that. Steeler camp in the morning, and then Riverhounds at night. So it's going to be a busy Saturday.
Football and football.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah. That's awesome.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, can't believe tomorrow's football. So
I can't either.
It snuck up on us. I'm happy.
There's like 5 or 6 games tomorrow too.
There are.
Yeah. So, but all right, everybody. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll be back next week. Look for our coverage on Steeler Camp, and we'll be pumping out an article, and there'll be lots to talk about, I'm sure. So, we've got a great show, fellas. Thanks, Vegas. We appreciate it. Any other comments on? Let's check here on the TikTok. It doesn't look like it. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you next week.